Hello again, Year 3. So, once you have selected the book that you're going to write, whether you are rewriting a fairy tale that already exists, or a children's book that already exists, or that you are creating your own, in today's lesson you are then going to make a story map which shows the plot of your story. And maybe has a few words to explain what's happening at each stage. We've created a story map, but once before. If you think back to our lesson in the autumn term, our unit on it was a short story about two paleontologists who found themselves in an underground tomb, and they discovered a fossil, and then they had to escape. So if you can remember all the way back then, we began by creating a story map showing how our story would unfold, and we did it in a kind of snake shape that went from the start to the end. I'll show you an example, so I'm going to flip my camera. This is an example of a story map. How do I flip it? Here we go. Flipped. Nope. Oh, I just have to I'll turn my camera. That's easy, I'll turn it. So this is a story map for the Three Little Pigs. So if I zoom out a little bit, you can see what it is. So it has a beginning where it talks about the Three Little Pigs, and the fact that a wolf comes along who's disguised as a pig, and he knocks on each of their doors, and they've got a different house, some made of straw, some made of wood, some made of bricks, and it explains what he does on each one, talking about the huffing and puffing, etc., etc. So it might not be that clear on your screen, but that is the sort of thing that we're going for. So we want to have a start point, and we're going to use images to explain what's happening at each stage. Now remember, you're creating a children's storybook, so it's a very basic plot. Doesn't need to be very overly complicated, doesn't need to have very many characters, because otherwise you're not making it for the target audience. We are writing our story for children who are very young, so it needs to be simple. One thing it also needs to have is lots of children's books have repeated phrases. So in the Three Little Pigs story, the "I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," he repeats that several times. Or there's also the "That's Not My" series of books where the phrase "that is not my" is repeated again and again. So "that's not my bus, its wheels are too rubbery. That's not my bus, its windows are too shiny." So there's a repeated phrase. So you need to think about what is going to be your repeated phrase in your children's story, because it's a really good way of helping children to remember words if they have to repeat things again and again. That's why you see it quite a lot in children's books. If you're doing a fairy tale, a book that already exists, then of course you can just use the same phrase. So in the Very Hungry Caterpillar book, the phrase that's repeated is he ate this, he ate a certain number of, he ate one lemon cake, he ate two strawberries, etc. So it just keeps repeating that same thing. In Goldilocks and the Three Bears, they keep repeating the phrase, somebody's eaten my porridge, somebody slept in my bed, because it's been disturbed. So they keep repeating that same phrase again. So on your story map, make sure you explain the plot of your story, what is going to happen, where and when, but just by using pictures and arrows. So you need to shape your story like that, and you can write the word start and the word end at the beginning and end of your story map, but also have a few words in there to explain what's happening at each stage. So on the Three Little Pigs story map here, they've used some speech bubbles to explain what the wolf says at each stage, but they haven't written the whole story, and they've used things like after that and next, and they've made it quite colourful and visual. As long as you can follow it. So you're not writing the story today, but you are going to be writing it over the next few days, and you're going to use your story map to help you remember what to put in at each stage. So as long as you can follow it and you understand what's going on, that's good. Once you finish your story map, if you can take a picture of it and you can upload it onto the Google Stream so that we can all see. On the next few slides, I'm going to put some examples of what the story map should look like, and just a reminder of the things you need to include. So have lots of fun, and I will look forward to seeing your stories and your story maps. Bye.